So we finally got to see the differences between a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 cartridge, because as you know, of course, Switch 2 is compatible with Switch 1, but Switch 1 is not going to be compatible with Switch 2 games, right? You can't pop a Switch 2 game into a Switch 1. It's not going to work. I want to first start by comparing some of the old ones to see how they kind of did this and sort of the progression throughout the years. Let's start with the Game Boy. So if you see the Game Boy was kind of like a square cartridge, and then with the Game Boy Advance, it was kind of more of like a little bit of a wider sort of and shorter kind of cartridge, and that made it so, number one, the width of it could not fit into the Game Boy. And then with the 3DS and the DS and the 3DS, they did the same thing. With the 3DS, there was sort of like a little like notch, a little extra notch, I guess, if you will, on the cartridge that was not there on the DS cartridges that were a little bit more kind of square. And that was kind of a way to both differentiate visually from, the difference between the two cartridges. And then, of course, a way to prevent people from popping 3DS games into their DS. From Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. This image has been floating around the internet, which shows you that, first of all, there's a difference in colors, of course, right? So that's one visual cue. You can see that one's black, the Switch 1 cartridges are black, and then the Switch 2 cartridges are red. But not just that, you can actually see there's a little notch, kind of like the 3DS, but like way more subtle than the 3DS. The 3DS was a little bit of a different kind of notch. This is more of like an indentation in the actual bottom. Well, if you're looking at it, I guess like from the back would be the bottom right corner of the Switch 2 cartridge. And again, you can see that little indentation, and that's how to tell the difference between a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 game cartridge. With discs, if you were to pop, let's say like a PS5 disc into a PS3, let's say, it's not going to work. Right, it'll just give you a reading error, but this is just another way that Nintendo just prevents you from actually popping it in. So you don't waste your time. They're saving you time, really. You should thank them for that. But yeah, so I thought it was interesting. Not a long video, but I want to show you guys that there is like an actual difference. There is a little notch in the Switch 2 game cartridge. It's not just red, which is cool, by the way. I like the red cartridges, but yeah, there's a little notch in there. It's small, it's subtle, but it's there, and that's one of the differences.